give for somebody to cut my hair.
I know.
I
forget when I washed my hair last. It's just like, ooh.
What's the
mine and I do Deborah's, and that's as far as I'm going.
Oh.
You guys are lucky.
Yeah.
You got each other to cut each other's hair.
Yeah, she doesn't do any of the cutting. Mm-mm.
She wasn't what?
She doesn't
Doesn't
do any
do the
of the hair cutting.
Oh,
No.
you cut your own hair?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah, the only part of it Deborah does is right along the very back. She'll do a straight line back there and trim the back of my neck. That's it.
mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, I've been cutting my own hair for, gosh, since I was a deputy.
I know, but I used to cut my hair, but it was much shorter.
See,
It's
mine's
like-
easy. Mine's
Yeah.
easy. Put on a number 2 guard and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be much
Put on
shorter.
a number 3 or 4 guard and do the top, and then I'm done. It's much like clipping my dogs.
I think my audio is not good today.
Uh-oh.
I can hear you.
You guys are fuzzy. My audio.
Kathleen, woohoo!
Hi, Kathleen.
Finally back again. Just
Hi.
came back from the food bank.
I know that face.
Hey, Kathleen.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Finally back.
All right.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi,
Oh,
Geraldine.
there's Dearlin.
Hey, look at there. Hi, welcome back.
Wendy looks so blissful. She's sitting there.
Ah,
The Buddha behind me.
Oh, good, good.
She's in the light. Wendy's in the light today.
No, the shadow.
I like the little
There
twinkly
she-
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are nice.
We would be in the Sherwood Forest, like he decorated everything.
I like it. All right, here we go. Who's reading today? It's in the chat.
I'll go ahead and read. This day, May 14th, 2020, I cease believing in visible money as my supply and my support. And I view my current world of effects as it truly is, simply an outpicturing of my former beliefs. I believed in the power of money, therefore I surrendered my God-given power and authority to an objectified belief. I believed in the possibility of lack, thus causing a separation in consciousness from the source of my supply. I believed in mortal humans and carnal conditions, and through this faith gave humans and conditions power over me. I believed in the mortal illusion created by the collective consciousness of error thoughts. And in doing so, I have limited the unlimited. No more. This day I renounce my so-called humanhood and claim my divine inheritance as a being of God. This day I acknowledge God as my supply and my support. And so it is.
So it is. Beautiful.
It is. And today we are on for the 3rd time. Until 10, day 30. Woohoo!
Ooh.
Keep my mind and thoughts off this world and place my entire focus on God within as the only cause of my prosperity. I acknowledge the inner presence as the only activity of my financial affairs, as the substance of all things visible. I place my faith in the principle of abundance in action within me. So I'm going to share an experience of abundance.
I guess.
You're sending us a check?
Huh?
You're sending us all a check?
Sure. I'm checking in with you every day for 40 days.
That's right.
So my laptop has been, for the past 6 months, gradually, the CPU fan on it has been gradually committing suicide.
Mhm.
Funny finally it got to the point where all I could hear when I turned it on was, and I'm like, okay, this is like really bad. So I took it in to get it replaced. They thought it would be maybe a 30-minute job. Well, they don't have that particular fan. So it's going to take, and they're not even going to be able to get the fan because of all the shipment delays and everything until Friday the 22nd. I use that laptop here at the center to broadcast Sunday service on Facebook Live. I use it at home every morning to do the daily meditation, all kinds of stuff. Plus, so much of my life is on my computer. I'm like, this can't happen. And I'm like, you just put it back together and I'll just roll the dice and take my chances. And if it eats the CPU, then, oh, well, I guess I'll get a new computer. And the guy was like, you can do that, but how about this? So I have old monitors. I have a lot of old equipment because I'm a pack rat that way, because something inside me says eventually I'll use this stuff. So he sold me this amazing computer that it's a desktop. So it's not the same as my laptop, but it is perfect in my office. Way more RAM, a solid state hard drive with way more storage. I mean, it's a much better computer than my $1,500 laptop for $125 freaking dollars.
Wow.
Yay!
What a deal. Dang.
And it
Wow.
yeah, it's Quietech right here in Grass Valley. And it looks like they probably can build the computer that I need for here at the center to do the live streaming for between $300 and $500, and buying it retail, I would be spending $8,000 to $1,000.
Cool.
See, it might look like a disaster, but abundance is still present.
Nice.
That's
Amen.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow. Who would have thought that? New thought?
Well, and I think that's the whole point. If we just, I learn it over and over again, that if I just get out of the form, if I get out of predicting what it has to look like, because in my mind, what it had to look like was 30 minutes and I get my computer back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was in my limited little picture. And, the divine and the creative process said, I got this, watch this, boom. And I need a computer in my office anyway, so I don't have to drag my laptop. I can just set up shop and move I do a lot of what I do on an external hard drive, 3 terabyte little box, because that way I don't have to pay for accessing my computer here from home. I can just, everything's on an external hard drive. It goes wherever I go. So it's perfect. Yep.
Great.
Yay.
Nice manifestation.
I love it.
Yeah.
Over and over again, I just keep getting, just let go. My job is to know with certainty that it's handled, not to worry about how it's handled. And that's really hard for us human beings. Especially us Capricorn human beings. Oh, dear God. We're all about security and control and predictability and consistency. And so,
Oh, no.
oh, I'm telling you, it's just, ooh. I often refer to myself as a recovering Capricorn.
For sure.
Yeah. Anybody that's been with any of us for very long, oh God.
Thanks.
Yeah. So what is happening in each of your worlds in terms of abundance? What is showing up?
Well, I went in the line today for the food bank because I get food now from my former student that I had in 1st and 2nd grade. She's grown with little children and she cleans the hospital. I mentioned her before. And so when we got there, or when I got there, they said, well, we'll just give you enough for 3 families. And I had said 2 families, and I said, are you sure? And they said, oh yeah, we have plenty today. And everything I opened, I just rejoiced. I mean, they gave me Twining's English breakfast tea. I love English breakfast tea. And then there's just boatloads for the kids and for the family. So next I get to load that in the pickup truck, and then they pull it out of the back of my pickup so that I don't get out of the cab and they don't have to breathe on me and I don't have to breathe on them currently. but it was so magical and so, joyous. So I'm just so grateful for that drive-through food bank is helping. Every time I do it, I'm helping 4 families because one family eats these real strange things like seaweed and they gave me ghee butter and I thought, oh, that family eats that stuff. So I put that all in a bag. I don't eat that. I mean, I have to be honest.
What kind of butter?
It was just very joyous, and everything I pulled out, I was so happy, and what I could share and what I could enjoy myself, and even got organic popped popcorn, and that's one of my favorite snacks.
Yeah, and the abundance that they have at the food bank to give that much away.
Yeah. Every week on Thursdays, you just drive through over there at Seventh-day Adventist, and they load it in.
Yeah,
Nice.
beautiful. Awesome.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Yeah. What else? How is abundance showing up?
Well, for me, I've told you this is a new house for me, and I've been stressing about fires and how to get more water onto the property for the pastures, et cetera, et cetera. And I could do a well. We're talking, $30,000-$40,000 because I also have to do an ag drop, or I could do supplemental water on my well, thousands and thousands of dollars. Anyhow, so what showed up this week was I got approval from NID to pull water out of I have 2 creeks on the property, out of one of my creeks for $188 a year. I'm like, yes.
Wow.
And you're a gardener. Yeah.
So easy. It's like that and the $100 pump from Tractor Supply and versus thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
I love it. I love it.
So now I'm manifesting. I'm manifesting ram sheep, some llamas, and some Scottish Highland cattle.
What was the last one?
Scottish Highland cattle. They're the ones that look like big teddy bears. The cows that look like teddy bears.
Okay. Are you going to eat them?
Well, so on my property, what the plan is going to be is to breed them. And those that are lucky enough to be girls get to stay, and those that are not so fortunate will end up being freezer pets.
Freezer pets. Oh, God.
That's a new one even for me.
Oh, add that in. I like that one.
I like it. Growing up, we had a cow and a pig, and my dad was really, really intent on making sure we understood their function. And so the pig was named the pig was named breakfast, and the cow was named dinner.
I had a roommate in high school who her parents bought cows because of the high cost of meat back then, and they made the mistake of they named all of them, and then they had the price of feed because they became pets, and they had to buy beef. So
I love how the whole water thing worked out nothing like you thought it would.
No, I and a neighbor who, so I'm the NID, the actual proper ditch is behind me on another neighbor's property, and he said, sure, you can have a legal easement on my property to get water. So he taught me how to drive the ATV, and we went and looked, and I went, oh Lord, that's going to be hard. And NID just said, yeah, Sure.
Wow.
So much for how we define hard, huh?
Yeah.
Nice
Well-
manifestation.
I love it. How else is it showing up?
I think my partner and I are going to get unemployment, and we're just both artists, so that's going to be great.
Yes.
We're going
That's
to go work at a beach house for almost 3 weeks here pretty soon.
Say that again?
We're going to go work at it. We go paint. We work at this beach house here and there. It's in Dillon Beach. It sits right on the ocean. And we
Oh,
work
yeah.
there because it's so beautiful. So we'll paint. We'll do some painting there. No one's
Do you
there.
need some help?
What?
Do you need some help?
Yeah.
When are you going, Wendy?
We're leaving Saturday. So I'm going to have to do the rest of this. I don't think I'll get reception there. I'm going to try from there's only one little store there that has Wi-Fi, but I don't know if it'll work. So
So
So tomorrow might be the last day.
I'm going to be able to do it Saturday and Sunday.
Oh,
We'll
Saturday.
San Rafael then.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So are you open to just a little tweak of feedback, Wendy?
Sure. I think so.
I was just struck by how you said, I'm just an artist.
Right.
And what would it be if you removed just?
Did you say that?
I guess I did.
Hmm.
I think I was referring in that we are not really
Oh,
like main core where we would be on
I
the
see.
books a lot for self-employment. I think I was meaning that, but I also do know I downplay that, and
Yeah.
that's good feedback.
Yeah, because without art, art is a function of wisdom. It's an expression of the divine and wisdom, and we need folks like you just as much as we need any other profession. So thank you for contributing to the beauty of my life.
Oh, that's sweet. You're welcome.
What type of art do you do, Wendy?
I'm painting right now. That when I was in the bedroom and you saw that painting behind me, that was one of my pieces.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Nice.
and she's done batik and clay and what else?
Everything, printing,
Wood,
macrame.
bowls,
Oh yeah,
all kinds of stuff.
Wooden bowls. Last summer I was out at the street fair all summer, but
So an abundance of creative expression.
Mm-hmm.
How about
Totally.
I didn't even know. That's wonderful.
Very nice.
and my guy's a musician, Tom McDonald. He's played around town forever.
Ah,
You're with Tom McDonald?
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
So
So
you've
you
heard him.
two
Pardon?
raised Breland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I work for Paul Cam. I sell merchandise for Achilles Wheel for 4 or 5 years. I travel with a rock and roll band. So
Oh, how funny.
yeah. I think we met a long time ago, but I didn't remember because your name is not this, it's like I didn't know.
Wow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's coming down to the beach house to help us a bit.
Okay.
We're
What's Achilles wheel?
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah.
man.
the rock and roll band.
What is
Yeah, you
oh,
need to hear From the Fire. That's what I was at a fire circle and I said, I want to work with music. And I was singing that song at the fire circle with a group. There's a group that, there's an ancient tradition of fire, as we know, but you actually get trained down in Mexico or wherever, and they have this fire circle. And so right after that, I just approached the band and I thought they were either going to say, go away or please come. And I had my laptop and my agenda and they were like, welcome.
Mm.
Well, that's cool.
So that's been really cool and traveling around and a nice group of guys.
Yeah.
Also evidence of abundance.
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to sell online. I've sold 2 CDs online and I'm trying to figure out how to do more merchandise online.
Oh, good.
And someone told me to get a Venmo, and I don't know what Venmo is, so I have to research and I have to see if they try to take taxes. I'm always nervous because the band has their own taxes and everything, but I'm a different business, and I don't know how to do any of that yet, and I hope that I can just kind of skirt it. So I'm a cash only as much as possible because the band gets more money.
Most all the kids are using Venmo these days, so I'm assuming it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've heard it's safe
Okay.
as far
Yeah, because PayPal, they
That's going
take money and then they might tax you. And okay.
Yeah.
So I'm working on more abundance for them, which means more abundance for me.
Nice.
Mhm.
I think it's how you set the account up and how they pay, right? So if you're going to set it up as a business account, it's going to be taxed differently than if it's going to be a personal account.
Right. One of the musicians told me with PayPal, they can say they're paying for a service or they're not. And if they click service, then you're going to have a taxable thing going on that I'm not ready for yet. So that's why the PayPal, wait on that, but go for the Venmo is what they're telling me. So I'm
Well,
going to look into it.
you can PayPal friends and family.
You can,
Mhm.
but I don't know how to keep them from saying it's a service. That's what I can't let them say, I guess. That's the word. I don't know.
Or perhaps we lean into PayPal gets to be part of the circulation process too.
Right. Like a lot of people use PayPal, and I might be able to figure that out. I'm just trying to, as close as I can, stay to the cash, and people are pretty surprised when I say, well, they ask, do you take a card? And I go, well, I do, but I'd appreciate if you had cash. And a lot of people suddenly have cash when you say that,
Yeah.
which is nice.
All kinds of abundance.
Yeah.
And it really is all about the circulation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, just in this conversation, I'm like, musician. I use musicians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bass player has played at our church in the past.
Ideas start
from Achilles' wheel.
That's how it all flows.
Oops.
When it'll happen, if it'll happen, the form of it, I don't know. But I know the idea just went bing.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my trees cut.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
You get
it's a
what?
big deal. My trees cut in the back. And it was an arborist. He knew what he was doing. My cherry tree looks like a tree again
Oh, great.
instead of some weird growth. It's real pretty. And then he hacked off the front. Actually, he cut it up the way I asked him to, but it looks hacked. But that's okay because it's English laurel and it's going to grow all over again. And I cut a bunch of my irises up there because I thought they'd get trashed, but I left 2, and he didn't hurt anything.
Oh.
The irises were still there. The roses were fine. He did a great job. It's Leaf It To Me. Arrow Acton. He's very good.
Arrow is wonderful.
He's very good, yes.
Nice.
So that's
Yeah.
done, and I've been worrying about it, kind of, they're going to come, and I don't know what's going to happen. And so they came yesterday. It's done. It's wonderful.
My husband and I catered his, what would it be? The wedding rehearsal dinner.
Oh,
Yeah. Nice family.
mm-hmm. They're and he's the son of the Ooh La La people.
Right.
Ooh La La Farms.
Arlo, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I love how you put it looks really hacked, but it's okay because it's going to grow back in what?
Yeah.
Abundance.
Right.
Yeah, it grows fast.
See, because all we got to do is look to nature and we'll see abundance and we'll see the cycle of the giving, the tree giving what it doesn't need and then replenishing itself in abundance. And our circulation is exactly the same way. That's why giving is just as much a part of receiving as it's all a part of the same thing.
And all the chips went over to my friend's house where I have a garden, or I have a couple of beds. So now I can go get chips from her without feeling guilty
Nice.
and use them in my other garden.
Wow.
So there's lots of chips now.
I need a load of wood chips here at the center for across the street in the parking to fill in that ditch over there. So that
There you,
we
you
do
know,
have people to park.
in my experience, they're pretty generous with chips because if they don't give them to you, they have to take them to a garbage dump. So if you call a company and say, hey, next time you're in town, I'd love a couple loads right there.
Yeah.
They'd probably be pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Call PG&E. They've been chipping up so much.
And Caltrans. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. PG.
Does anybody use the Facebook website Giving and Receiving?
Mm-mm.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so Reverend Rafe, you could put ISO on in search of whatever it is,
Right.
and then people reply to you.
Oh, that's cool.
And then, you can, meet up to give or to receive. And people put I am they put I am receiving or I am giving. So I am receiving a, whatever the item is.
Right. I
Wood
love
chips.
that. I love the solid certainty of that affirmation. Just
Yes.
put that out. I am receiving. Not I need, not I want. I am receiving.
Yeah. I really I just like looking at it and seeing, do I have anything that they might like?
Is that on Facebook only?
I've only seen it on Facebook. It's a group that you join and I'm a member. So if
Oh.
you like me on Facebook, I can add you if it's in any way difficult.
I'm not on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
It's called Giving and Receiving?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice. I'll check it
So,
out.
so Rafe, PG&E and Caltrans don't do their own work. They
They contact.
hire it out to third parties. So you just
Oh.
call the big tree removal folks and they'll be able to get you.
Okay.
Yeah, I did know that actually. Because
Hey, also, Rafe, there's a
Don't touch-
ton of wood. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There's a ton of wood chips up at Twin Cities Church on the far end of the
Yeah.
parking lot, off in the right there, just right off the parking lot. Huge piles, too, like 10
Is it-
feet high.
Is it for anybody to take? Do you know?
I think you need to check with the church because I can't answer that question.
yeah, if
Yeah, if you're
that far-
receiving, you might want to check.
it's that far back on their property, it probably belongs to them. So yeah.
Well, it does belong to
Investigate
them,
it,
but
yeah.
that's who you would ask.
Right.
Much easier if somebody comes and dumps it here.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Because with my pickup truck set up, I can't haul stuff.
I have a dump trailer if that's needed at some
Okay,
point.
cool. Because I do have a hitch. So
Oh, good. Yeah.
You have a what?
a hitch, a trailer hitch.
Oh, a hitch. Oh, okay.
Yours is a hitch in my get along.
I thought she said she had a dump truck.
A trailer.
That you take to the dump. Okay.
Well, we use it for a variety of things.
Nice. So how are we doing with really shifting our perspective away from form and to relax into a certainty that God, or whatever we call this, has it all figured out and we don't need to? That the activity of law, that creative function, that activity doesn't know what it's creating, but it knows how to create it. Now wrap your head around that. It doesn't stop and think about what it's creating. It just goes, create that. Okay, boom.
Yeah, for me, it expands possibilities because my mind may only come with, 1 to 10 different options, but the infinite can come up with infinite different possibilities that I may not have thought about.
Yeah.
Um,
And all of my ideas come from the past. from the frame of reference that has already been stored in my brain.
Yeah.
When I realized that, it was like, oh, good Lord, that's pretty limiting. Everything I imagine is from the past. So I'm just recycling old experiences.
I think that's might be partially true, but the wood chips in the parking lot has to be a new thing, and the way you pulled in that computer had to be a new thought.
Well, but see, that's just it. It wasn't a new thought for me. The way that computer happened was because it didn't go as I imagined it, because my imagination was solely from the past, that when I take it in, this is what happens, this is when I get it back, all from previous experience. The way it actually played out, because I'm paying attention to the infinite possibilities where law works it out differently than I can imagine. But if I just have to have it the way I see it,
Yeah.
then it's from past experience.
So it's not the thing you want. The thing you want is current, but how you're picturing it coming about is from the past. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What I wanted was functionality. And the very clear demand to the universe is, I have to have something now. And it wasn't my computer now. I have to be able to do these things that I've committed to do. How's that going to happen? Because if it's not going to happen the way I've predicted it, okay, but it's got to happen.
Right.
And then poof.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that was my conversation with the infinite, standing in the parking lot out there at Quiet Tech. I'm like, okay, clearly my best thinking has no solution. So what's yours? Because I have a morning meditation that I do. I got stuff to do that requires this technology. So,
and Reverend Rafe, are you saying quiet tech?
Quiet Tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quiet?
Quietech.
Okay.
Quiet Tech.
I was hearing it correctly. I was wanting to make sure. Do they do anything with Apple computers?
I suspect, yeah. And they have classes, and they're right on the back side of the bank I go to once a week for the center, and I had no idea they were there. And again,
I didn't either.
I just put it out on Facebook. This is what I need. Any recommendations? And bam, bam, bam. That one came up frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, let me trust this. Boom. Yeah, it's that what I've experienced is the more I can let go of how I think everything should play out and just focus on what's the end game here. Not the form, but the experience. I need functionality. I want to be able to keep my commitments. I want to continue to serve people in the way I said I would. How's that going to happen? But if I can let go of the how, then I'm just like amazed at the way it shows up.
Excuse me.
Yeah, just amazed. Yeah. And I think that's what he's talking about when he says, I keep my mind and thoughts off this world. Because that's the form. That's the my infinite volumes of Shouldpedia are the world. How I've been taught it's supposed to be, how it should be.
It's easier to keep my thoughts off this world than to place my entire focus on God within. I have better images that way than the other way.
Say that again.
If I read that first part, I keep my mind and thoughts off this world, I can get relief and release. Somehow I can just go in. But when I read the sentence, I place my entire focus on God within. That's a harder vision for me, visualization for me to do than the other one.
What's the gap for you? Do you know?
I can picture seeing everything. I picture the world and then I just picture going in. Whereas if I go in, I have nothing to bounce that off, I guess.
Ah, which makes perfect sense since the God within is invisible. It's unformed.
Yes.
Yeah, so that makes perfect sense. Thank you for extrapolating it, because, yeah, it's easy for me to believe I have a pen in my hand. There it is. But to, and that really is the faith part, it's the belief in the substance of things not seen.
But my mind sort of wants a picture. I think that's when I stopped praying, because I stopped believing like in a solid God or a Jesus, a solidness.
Yeah.
So it became harder to, well, who am I praying to? What my mind wanted a vision or something to place my thoughts on. I still have problems with that.
And I love that, because again it speaks to that thing that we're raised with socially. Who am I praying to? Which puts God outside us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so challenging for us. And I know ministers who will not utter the words, God as me, because they're so afraid that the next Sunday they will have no one in their center.
Yeah.
Because it challenges something very deep in us that, a lot of people go, that is just straight up sacrilegious to say that we are God in form.
Yeah, John Lennon had some problems with that.
Yeah. Some days I do. And it's not that I don't believe it, but I still have all of those little monkey mind chirping things from umpteen years of, Pentecostal holiness upbringing. I mean, I've shared this in other classes. There are times I will wake up in the middle of the night from a dead sleep with this sense, and the only thought in my head is, what if I'm wrong? What if there's a hell? What if I am wrong? Then what? And eventually I just laugh. I'm like, well, what if?
Well, for me, the answer for me the answer is, I'm having a great life, and I'm living in love and joy. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't need to experience hell twice. I'm gonna have a great life now.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's the moments are very few and far between. And now they just amuse me, because it's like, oh, here, we're going to do this dance again. Okay. And when I reason it through logically, so let me see, let me logically play this out. There is this divine force of love that created one son, gave that one son all of the information and all of the knowledge of itself, and then murdered him to save the rest of its own creation. Really?
So it's so Greek mythology.
Right. And that's exactly the point of it. Mythology.
Yeah.
And I can lean into it as a myth. But as any kind of reality of a loving being, well, first of all, it can't murder itself. It can't without destroying itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it falls apart right there. for it to destroy any part of itself would be to destroy the whole of itself.
And then there was the resurrection.
The what?
The resurrection.
Oh,
So
I still love that.
was it
thing.
just a myth to teach us, coming? I don't know.
I
It's
still
wild.
I love that thing in the Bible where that death really was public, and then the coming back, just so we know we're not our bodies. To me, that was a great sacrifice to just relieve us of having to be afraid of death in this body.
And that is exactly what it's about. It is just a lesson, whether it actually happened or didn't happen, or it happened the way they said, or it didn't happen the way they said. It's the whole lesson is that we are not our bodies, that there is something within us that is present in the body and continues beyond the body.
I just felt so much bliss and joy every Easter, in church. I was Episcopalian, growing up. Now I'm a pagan. Who knows where I'm going, but I'm happy, and it worked for me. And I became an ordained priestess within the goddess church of Isis. Anyway, so,
Yeah.
but I remember that as a kid, just feeling so much joy on Easter Sunday. And my mom felt it too.
Yeah.
And then being confirmed, in the big cathedral in Washington, D.C., and the bishop comes and lays his hand on you, and you're supposed to have the Holy Spirit enter you. Well, I'd forgotten that even was going to happen. I'm just like, oh my gosh, look at all these people. And then I go up, and the Holy Spirit enters me. And I turned around, and I looked at my parents, and I said, it's real.
Yeah. And it's that, when we talk about the God within, it's that feeling, it's that sensing. And that's, I catch a lot of questions about why I hold on to my Pentecostal roots as a Science of Mind minister. And it's that I-thou relationship. It's that, what I take away from the Pentecostal experience is exactly what you're talking about, Kathleen. It's that experience of meeting and communing and knowing, embodying that God within. I have met that. I have lived there. And I ain't giving that up for nobody.
No.
When you
Yeah.
When you pray, Rafe, what do you see? What do you feel you're praying to, or do you have any vision?
I'm not praying to anything. When I pray, I am speaking, the infinite is speaking as me. When I go into prayer, it really is the human part of me just kind of is not in the way. And I love our form of prayer because it reminds me that there's only one. There's only one, whatever it is, and I am it in form. So it must be what is speaking. There ceases to be a me and a you, and it is the I am speaking its desire into being, into experience. And as that happens, the resonance that is created inside of every cell of my physical being can't help but be moved to gratitude. It's just this internal, that I-thou experience where I really experience the infinite as me. And it just moves me into an expression of gratitude. And so I speak gratitude until I'm done, and then I say amen. And
you don't have any picture in your head while you're praying?
Typically, I do not. What happens to me mentally and physically is the same thing that happens when I meditate. Is the deeper I go, the less aware of anything physical I am.
Mm.
Um, what I typically picture nowadays is it'll start as this tiny little black dot, and it just expands and expands, and I'm not aware of a body. I'm not aware that I'm in a room. I'm not aware of anything other than just this expansive, vast emptiness, which I understand to be possibility, the formless.
Hmm.
That's why if you are here in the center, when I'm doing the closing treatment, I always have one hand on the lectern, because if I don't, God knows where I'll wind up. I I had an
You might float
experience.
away.
Well, no, I had an experience at CSA, Center for Spiritual Awareness in West Sac, where I didn't do that. And I don't know what happened, but when I got to, and so it is, I was all the way at the very back of the stage with my back to the congregation. I don't know how I migrated back there. And I was like, a Miles Davis moment. Miles Davis, in the middle of his concert, would just literally turn his back on the audience and just have at it. And so ever since then, it's like, I should just like give myself a little physical anchor here, because I'll wander off. So I'm not paying any attention to my physical body. Yeah, it was really one of those, how'd I get here moments. Yeah. So I don't pray to anything outside of me anymore.
Nice.
Yeah. And that was a long time coming, because I was raised with a vengeful God outside of me. I mean, that is so indoctrinated, that, God was an old white guy in the clouds with a beard, a baseball bat, a scorebook, who occasionally went off his meds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the God I was raised with.
That's an apt description.
Seriously.
So now you talk about oneness a lot, and I was just wondering, what does that mean to you?
It means exactly that there's only one. When I'm looking at you, I'm looking at me, I'm looking at the infinite, because there's only one thing. There's one source. It's like, the best way I can describe it in human terms, it's like one pitcher of water and many, many ice cubes. But it all came out of the same water, so it's all still within the same water. There's no separation. What I want for me, I am manifesting for all of humanity, for all of nature, for all of everything. And so I'm very careful. And careful may not be the best word. I'm very intentional. That, I don't, as much as possible, slip into the get mine, because there is no mine. There's, one.
Was that like a big epiphany for you when you realized about oneness?
Oh, good Lord, yes.
Do you remember it?
I do. I sobbed for days. For days. I just
Oh, I love that.
I couldn't stop. And it happened out in Rio Neto. I was sitting on my front deck, and I looked out, and hanging seemingly in midair, right, was this enormous spider web that was linked to the redwoods. But the part of it that I was experiencing was just right there, with dew on it and this tiny little spider. And all of a sudden, I just was overwhelmed with, oh my God, that's me. Was the first time it happened. And the second time it happened was in ministerial school. And this one was just blew me away. It was in, what the heck was that class? It was one of the philosophy classes. And what he was teaching was that there has to be a degree of consciousness in everything. Because if everything is made out of consciousness, everything must have some degree of consciousness. Everything. And I was on my final paper, and I just needed a break. And I walked out to the end of my driveway and looked down the road at a sunset, and just tears just started flowing because I was in an experience of, I was watching myself set. I mean, it was such a, and it's trippy because the minute I started putting words to it, the feeling was diminished.
Mm.
Okay. But there was that space where I recognized that the sunset and I are one. I mean, it's just freaking trippy. And you know, I really get that oneness is really the only thing that there is. And so, yes, I refer to it a lot because that's the greatest gift I have to teach is oneness, is to remind us that it may look like 20 of us in the room, but there's only one of us here. And we're in it and around it, and we're sitting on it, and our feet are in it and on it. You know, I'm one with my shoes, I'm one with my socks. You know, and the way I relate to that, Linda, is just like I start with my own physical body, and every cell within my body is part of my body, is one with my body. Even though those cells are separate in time and space, it's one body. And I was in the Denver airport going to home office. Now, and I don't know if you've ever been in Denver airport, but the way everybody dumps out of Denver airport, it's like veins in a body. You know, they come out and everybody's just boom. And I was like, oh my God, we're all little cells in the infinite's body. You know? So I have moments like that that make it accessible to me at the human practical level.
It's continual.
Yeah. So if there's one body, well, yeah, I'm a cell in that. But it's still just one body.
Isn't that crazy?
Kind of like sometimes I think the universe, like we're all one note and we make up the one song.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. That kind of stuff. Yeah, because we're all going to experience it differently, you know. But the more I lean into these practices of consciously, intentionally focusing my attention on the truth that there's one, we're all it, you know, going within and then extrapolating that out, the more of those experiences I have.
So this is where you don't just know about this, you know this, but it's not necessarily fully embodied yet, or it has moments.
I think if it was fully embodied, I wouldn't be here anymore.
I know, that's what I'm worried about. I don't know if I'm ready to leave.
And you get to choose.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really clear for whatever it's worth. Part of my marriage contract is Deborah gets to go first.
We agreed we're going together.
I tried that, and she's like, well, okay, maybe, but if not, I go first. And I'm like, okay, all right.
I
Now,
think the smart thing to put to the contract.
how much of that I really have control over, I don't know in the human realm. So I just periodically remind myself on the spiritual realm that this is an agreement that I have with this emanation of the divine. So the agreement is with itself. So chances are good it'll get played out just the way it's supposed to. I can quit worrying about it. And that's another way that oneness really, I'm not, when I'm making agreements from a spiritual place, the agreement is with itself. So
The what?
the agreement is with itself.
Oh,
So there's no way for anything to be against it. When we really get oneness, the only thing that is against anything is my error thinking. That's it. Who, if there's only one, who can you be against?
what was that?
One cannot be in opposition with anything.
Oh,
That requires two.
Yeah, I find myself getting angry with the politics, and I go, "Oh, those a-holes! Oh, I'm one of those. Because we're all one, And I tell myself, now watch it." But I find this ragey, crazy. Some things I say on Facebook, I go, "Why did I say that?" But only just learning and growing.
Because we're spiritual beings having a very human experience.
Truly.
Sometimes.
And I like being gentle with myself and go, all right, I slipped into that, and I'm back.
We forget. And it's beautiful. I mean, that's the, why did I just call myself an asshole? See, that's the operation of oneness. And that, when all of the school shootings and everything started happening, this oneness practice evolved for me to navigate those spaces where I am one with the shooter. I am one with the shot. I am one with the bullet. I am one with the gun. I am one with the gun manufacturer. I am one with the blood on the floor. And I go through it all until I feel that expansion, until I experience the oneness, to neutralize all of those thoughts that want to tell me how separate, how superior, how self-righteous I am.
Uh-huh.
All right, I am.
Yeah. Because
I've become one with the children and the teachers, because being a teacher, I went right to that. I didn't think to go with the shooter. And those have hit me very hard.
Yeah.
And I've been
actually,
in lockdown situations where I'm experiencing tremendous PTSD, and there I am. Oh, I'm the one in charge. So now I tell all the secretaries that I have PTSD, and if they know of any of those things coming up, let me know. And don't worry, I will do my absolute best. But there's a part of me that thinks I'll probably jump in my car and drive away from the high school while the other high school kids jump in their cars. I mean, it's hard to say that I will follow all their rules. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to find out if it happens.
Yeah.
Honesty.
I know, it's true. You don't know what you're going to do till it happens.
Nope,
Yeah,
we don't.
I've been with the drills with the little kids. I got them all over in the corner, and I had brought Play-Doh over there with us. And then the principal came and rattled on the door like she was the bad guy. And it was all I could do not to scream. It was so real. And I'm not a second grader, but I act like one a lot. And so I'm very much in my child self. So I was like, oh, and then I went, oh, this is pretend, I said to the children, but we know we don't answer the door to anyone rattling it. And I thought, oh.
Good for you.
But
That was
And then we
good.
talked about our feelings afterwards, and you know, sat in the
Because that's
circle.
healing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That heals PTSD big time.
Yeah, I told the children how afraid I felt as a grown-up, but I tried to keep breathing and squishing that Play-Doh like they were doing, and they were helping me too because they were sitting quietly in the corner. We were in kind of a fortress with the Play-Doh.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's a new
That's
world.
beautiful, Kathleen. Just
Wow.
beautiful.
That is. That's gorgeous. I love that.
It's huge.
Mhm.
All right. So tomorrow we start our final 10 days.
Oh,
Woohoo! It's lavish.
So I want to toss this out for you to think about between now and tomorrow, to begin to look at each of these statements and see if there's any way that you might want to rewrite them to make each of them more personal to you,
oh,
including the opening statement that we read every day. And we'll play with that over the next 10 days and see what comes up to really move this from knowing about to knowing, to making it personal, to embodying it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go get ready for our finance committee meeting here at the center.
Oh boy.
Yeehaw.
yeah.
I will be sending out both yesterday's and today's. I couldn't do that last night because I
Thank you.
couldn't get into my center email from my new computer, but I'm here now, so I'll get that sent out. All right? All right.
Love you, everyone.
Love you guys. See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
See everybody.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.